Buyers that call us to say, I'm wanting to get into the industry, but where do I start? They're going to buy something before someone that just randomly inquires on 83 different properties.
Yes, your packaging is really important. How we present the transaction, the buyer to the banks.
How are you finding management rights deals to get through? And is there anything to the people who are listening that you'd give advice from a finance point of view?
Definitely discuss finance with me as early as possible.
Welcome to Resort Brokers Radio. I'm Trudy. We're going to walk you through the ever-evolving landscapes of hotels, motels, caravan parks and management rights. Here we have experts from all across the accommodation industry, and we've invited them along to tell us all about their success stories, the lessons they've learnt, what their predictions are for the market going forward and what trends they're seeing. Please join us. We look forward to seeing you there. Hello and welcome back to RB Radio. Thank you very much for joining us once again. Another podcast, another fantastic couple of guests. First and foremost, I've got to introduce my wingman, our Brisbane broker, been with us for 5 years?
4 years.
4 years.
1 month, 2 days, 7 hours.
Nathan Benjamin, who was so successful for us up in Central Queensland. Down from Bundy, that you've taken over Brisbane and you've taken it by storm, and you've got some really interesting deals in play, which when they settle we'll unpack. So thank you for joining us.
Hey, thank you for having me.
And first time to the hot spot, Paul Chu, who is first time here, but not a first timer to the finance or the accommodation industry. 20 years you've been working in finance.
Yes.
And then you started your own business, CLAS. How long ago, Paul?
Started CLAS Financial Solutions, January 2024.
Fantastic. Well, welcome. Thank you very much. What does CLAS stand for?
Well, firstly, thanks for inviting me to RB Radio, Trudy and Nathan. It's the first time I kind of feel like a radio star rather than a banker or a finance broker. So another thing to add to my resume. So
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. CLAS Financial Solutions. CLAS is CLAS. It actually stands for True Lending and Advisory Services.
Yes.
When I started when I founded this company, I thought, what do I want the company to stand for, and what I wanted to represent, and I deliberately put Chu in there. That's my family for my family name.
Yes.
And I wanted to be my family business. It's got my family name in there and my family legacy.
Yeah, amazing.
And why is that important to me? Because just like how I work with my clients, I want my business to be an intergenerational business that one day, hopefully, my children, my family members can come into my business to work with me and my clients to build this like a long-term prosperity, long-term success for my clients, as well as CLAS Financial Solutions.
Yeah, amazing. Obviously, being a family business, second generation, I always think being the pioneer, though being the first one out, we're so lucky. We had such a good brand, and my father Ian had always worked with such integrity, and built a good business. We went to school to eat our lunch, so the fact that we can sell things and learn from him was such a gift.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Wow, fantastic! But that's quite a bold thing to do, really put your heart on your sleeve, right up there in your name.
Yep. Oh, definitely. I mean, I'm looking at obviously Resort Brokers. With Ian, been around for more than 40 years, and one of the pioneers in the industry. And still a lot I've got to learn from you guys, from the Crook family. And I know obviously your Dad and your siblings quite well over the years as well. So it's still a lot for me to learn. And make sure we definitely share some family hidden secrets with newcomers like myself.
Can I tell you, when your children are in the business, I can certainly give you some advice then. No, I'm only joking. Working with
Buy
the
a
family.
Bali villa. You need to own a Bali villa when the children take over. That's the
Exactly,
main
so
trip.
you can get away. Hey, thank you. And Nathan, thank you for joining me. We couldn't have Paul on, but I know what a great relationship you two have. And
My first friend since moving here.
your first friend.
Yeah.
It
was a low bar.
Do you know what? I really have been amazed how well you've built your business, though, and how quickly you have established yourself from Brisbane. When did you come down from Bundy?
Last year, so it's just been just over a
Just
year now.
over a year. And when did you start your business, sorry?
January last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So really
So
around the
you've
same
both been
time.
doing it
Yep.
together. Yeah, fantastic.
Yep.
Couldn't do one without the other. So Paul, tell us about your business now and what you were doing for the last 20 years.
Okay, so been a career banker for 20 years. Spent over four different banks in Australia, and I started business, I mentioned before, January 2024. And why I started this business rather than going to another bank is that I believe that like working with my clients is a true passion of mine.
Yes.
And when you work for a bank, you restrict to just one solution, one bank solution.
Yes.
Whereas now I see myself as my client's private banker.
Yes.
And I mentioned to Nathan, to yourself, Trudy, and a lot of my clients that I choose quality over quantity. The clients I look after, it's generally with a long-term strategy, long-term goal for them to create wealth.
Yes.
It's not really a short-term, one deal wonder.
Transactional thing.
Yeah.
We're
Correct.
the same. We always want to sell people and
Exactly.
sell them out, right? We always say one deal's not worth your reputation. Couldn't agree more, yes.
Yeah.
And that relationship with the clients is a crucial of what I believe in and what I do as well.
You can only add value when you really know your clients and what they're trying to do.
Exactly right.
I sometimes think we go with the people come to you with what their problem is and what they think the solution is.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of coming to you with just the problem and using your 20 years. So you work for the four majors.
Yes.
And then big step to go out on your own. Did you... I imagine a lot of clients would have been loyal to you though, like really they would have moved with banks with you over the years, and then did you find that?
Yeah, definitely. And over 20 years, a lot of the clients have become mates. Honestly, become mates. And when they found out that I left my last employer to start my own, and even through LinkedIn or just social media, they proactively reach out to me and wanted me to represent them.
Yeah.
And why that is the case, because there is that trust element.
There is.
They trust I'll do the best thing by them, the right thing by them, as if they are my own transactions, my own deals. And
Such the same philosophy as you've got,
and working with the right, I guess that circle of influence, yourself included. So we can all add value to the clients, because at the end of that, we all want the best thing for our clients.
Yes, we do.
And that is really important to me. And even sort of looking at, within the accommodation industry as such, that, I've got clients that are, lawyers, working in the accommodation industry right now. I've got clients that are property developers, developing accommodation assets. I got accountants who are also my
wow.
clients
So some
as well.
of the wow, okay.
So it
Maybe
is.
you need to have some agents too. What kind of rate can you get?
Definitely. I believe that
Do you do no interest for friends and family?
I was going to say no interest. I'd like that.
Mates rates.
Yeah.
But what I do believe that having the right people,
It's everything.
within my sphere of influence is really important.
Exactly. And look, I think with something that you've been, brilliant at is actually like, when you get a client, you're not just there to look after that one introduction that, we might have sent them to you to say, look, they're looking at this asset, whether it's, a motel, caravan park, management rights. You're not just talking to them whether they can afford that asset. You're talking to them about, do they need to restructure something of their other debts or create, a pathway forward to, even if that one is, gone because the market, moves so quickly and pretty much people aren't ready to, decide within a week or two. They're quite often too late. And, your ability to, take them on that journey and, help them through that as a guided, trusted partner is quite impressive.
I agree with that. I think everyone's so busy, the market's so hot, we're at risk of it too, aren't we? You become, I've used the word transactional, but I know exactly what you mean, that you actually look at their whole situation, but also the patience to work with people, new timers and so on. You know, we always say today's buyer's tomorrow's seller, but the market's been incredible. And so when the market's, and we've got to work for our vendor. So when the market's that hot, there's a lot of disappointed people.
Exactly.
And there's no denying that vendors are choosing experience where they can because of transaction period. So I think that's a real testament, and I think it's foundations for growing a fantastic business.
Yeah, and Nathan, you obviously touched upon a really important point that, you know, I just on the clients, like what are they trying to achieve? And I was just thinking about an analogy from, I used to watch a lot of cartoons and a lot of, you know, Disney or, DreamWorks movies, and Shrek. I'm going to make a reference to Shrek. And when Shrek mentioned about, peeling, onion, like peeling the layers of onion to get to, what they really want. There's always the underlying motive. What are they trying to achieve? And that's, it is, once we understand that, we can really help them to grow into that long-term, future strategy.
When I hear you talk, I can see exactly how we look at it too, and it's about relationships. And often, I suppose, I'm always interested in the financing side. So if we were to bring a purchaser, the first thing that I know Nathan says is, if you're new to the industry, make sure you work with Paul. Make sure you're working with people who understand the industry, right? Because it's pretty nuanced, even if they've had an accountant or a lawyer for a long time.
Just because they've owned commercial, it doesn't mean they understand these asset classes and how they're structured, and it's a completely different commercial asset to sheds or
totally. Well, look at that one you're selling now. That's got commercial below. And then it's got effectively an accommodation lease maybe on top. Have you found that you've had to explain that to a lot of purchasers?
Yeah, exactly. Because the bottom part makes sense to half the market, the top part makes sense to the other half, and the crossover is, it's been a challenge to find them.
Do you know what? We always find that. It always amazes me that with management rights and freehold. Right, strata, freehold, leasehold, even though they're both asset light. Same thing. And quite strong schools of thought that they're in the right industry, but always use, I've heard you say it so many times, use professionals, use specialists for this transaction. So what's your process when we send you over a buyer?
Definitely. Well, firstly, I pride myself to always call the client, within the same day. So if Nathan, for example, refer me someone, I always call them on the same day. Just have that, strike the iron while it's hot, and just understand what are they trying to achieve. And then once we understand what they try to achieve, then we move on to the asset itself. And what does the asset mean to them? What can the asset achieve on its own? And then we look at sort of the broader picture. And that's all before I even approach the banks, with a proposal. Generally for me is once I understand the client's financial position, I do my own calculations, make sure, that they can afford it, they can have the right, return on equity, return on investments, those matrix, and then, once I'm pretty confident that there is a deal to move forward to, I go to the market to, look for usually sort of 3, 4, 5 different lenders.
Wow, so you tender it out unless it was outside the box, you go to...
And as we know that,
a lot of work.
Banks, their policy, they do change. They do change on a, I want to say sort of irregular, but sometimes it can be quite dynamic. Let's use the word dynamic, inverted commas.
He's such a salesman, isn't he? I love it. Yeah.
You can tell he's read those policies when he worked for the bank.
I was going to say,
And often, we do need to pivot when, some banks, they do have, changes every now and then, and we do need to pivot on a really quickly, prompt basis to achieve the right outcome, for the buyer, because obviously they...
Don't lose the deal. In this market, you've got something under contract, you can't wobble on the finance. Often there'll be someone right behind you By the time you're the last thing that gets ticked off, so there's already been a few speed bumps.
Yes.
And out of all of the people that are in a transaction, finance being one of the most challenging to stick to the timelines.
Yes.
You can generally get accounting DD done in time. You can generally, legal DDs generally done in time.
Yep.
The major hold-up is the finance, and out of all of those professionals, you're also the only one that doesn't get paid along the way if it settles or doesn't settle.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So you're really along for the journey as well of, keeping all those people, because everyone else, valuer gets paid,
They get paid no matter what.
lawyer gets paid, and the accountant, gets paid. It's really, as the brokers in the transaction that, are really there to get it to
get a result.
Keep things to timelines and
I think to deal with the banks, I do mention to my clients on a regular basis that deal packaging is really important. How we present the transaction, the buyer to the banks are very important, and hence it is really important to use brokers or finance brokers that have the insight, have the experience to
package it up correctly.
package
But
it
like
up.
us when we go to market,
Yep.
and I think of some things like I think of the mature on the Gold Coast that you're working on, and how that's moving from what could be vacant possession. There's a lot of moving parts. You'll never own 100%.
Yep.
So it's a very unique asset. Packaging that up for the market and the way you presented it. I mean, how long do we take to list it, to package it? It's key.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? It had been on the market a few times. It had been around.
Yeah, and if we could do it again, we would change things about it.
Again.
Yeah.
In retrospect, we would, right?
we would.
I think that's often the case. Is it detrimental? Like, I think it's truly detrimental to present something to. It's definitely harder when you're the rebound agent, right? It's already been out to the market. The initial excitement of it's gone. If anything, it's got a bit of a wider than it sell in this market. Is it the same for you? If someone's gone to a bank and then they don't know how to present themselves?
Is exactly the same same position, and why is that? Because if a buyer that self-represent, they go to their bank that they've been banking since they were Dolomite accounts, and firstly they don't know, the buyer doesn't know whether how the bank assess it.
Yes.
And secondly, they don't know. They might approach a banker who doesn't have an experience at all in accommodation sector, and that could jeopardise the entire transaction. And when they come to a finance broker, we assess all that in advance for them, and then when we present a deal to the bank, I generally very confident that the deal will be approved before we even get there. And why that is really important, because if they approach a bank directly, once a credit search is done, other banks can see that
they've been
you've
shopping.
Approached, and why couldn't this bank do it? Why couldn't that bank do it?
Exactly the same.
Yep.
Right, I didn't know it was so similar.
And
wow.
in fact, that actually raised more questions, for the newcomer or for the incoming bank or a new lender. Then what do we not know?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, yes, I understand.
Scary.
It's so scarily the same.
Big Brother's watching.
Big Brother's watching. So I suppose if I was listening to this and I wasn't in it every day, living and breathing it, but I wanted to, I'd think to myself, well, surely the bank's going to find out, like, how are you, what are you fudging? But it's not about that, is it? It's about making it easy, digestible, a bit like us with financials, making them clean ad backs, explanation on ad backs, making sure that that it matches straight away.
Yeah. And also, obviously I mentioned the word deal packaging. That's, besides representing, the buyer and the profile of the asset, that's really important.
Yes.
But also the information that we provide to the lenders. And a lot of my clients, they experience, direct or, through, some mortgage brokers try to do management rights, we've never done before, is that, the bank process is really hard, very challenging and so forth. I think, for me, obviously, working 4 different banks over the last 20 years, I know what information banks need in advance.
What's the priority?
What is a priority? And once we give the information they need, because I already know what they are, in one hit, the process becomes a lot more efficient.
Yeah.
And I suppose if you're doing business lending, right, I suppose their ability even just to deliver everything in one go and formatted and all those quite simple things. There's an indication maybe in the banker's eyes or the bank's eyes, how they're going to run the business. So, even if you're drip feed, drip feed, it's all that stuff. It's actually quite simple. You're still providing the same information. You're just hitting them with what matters to them first, right? And making it easy.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And keep them to their words as well, in terms of time frame. And that's it's all about accountability, right? We keep the clients accountable, keep also the bankers accountable as well.
Yeah.
So that's I always follow up on a regular basis, make sure that the time frame is met.
How often would you call a person the credit? Because am I right in thinking that every bank has one person in each state in the credit department that signs off on accommodation?
It varies.
Yes.
It varies. But I guess it pays to know people in the banking system.
Of course it would.
And especially when you need to, call in a favour. I think I mentioned to you guys recently that I had a client that had a very, very tight auction time frame. And they originally we went through one path, and they've been with the same bank for donkey years. And that lender said, it's going to be 3-4 weeks. And that just
They couldn't do it any faster,
long.
even though they'd done their banking for years.
It couldn't do it any faster because it's been, it's not a priority because it's an auction. So therefore, they may or may not win it, so it's not a priority for the banker.
But what about the loyalty with the client?
I think today there are more and more people engage brokers because we can generally get things done.
So am I right when I've heard that there's 1-2 people in each of the bank's credit departments that can actually understand accommodation and sign it up? So if you've got a line into them, you obviously...
It does, but it varies between banks and
Yes.
also depends on the size of the transaction and also the banker that look at it as well. And hence, it is important to, I mentioned circle of influence before, it is important to know who are the best bankers in each bank that can look at these deals for you guys. And again, that improves the efficiency dramatically for sales brokers like yourself, for clients, for everybody.
So that's interesting. So therefore you would, if you've got this on auction, someone's got an auction, really short period of time, they want to go on cash because they don't want to sign something under auction terms. Do you find yourself picking a bank or going to a certain bank because they're agile?
I switch bankers within those banks, within one bank, and then move to another bank just for an option B.
Right.
And we got credit endorsed approval, credit endorsed term sheet within 40 hours.
Yeah. Wow.
So rather than 3-4 weeks...
We've got some deals you could... No, I'm only joking.
Yeah.
You are so well respected, you can get deals done. Do you find how much in your time do you think deals, since you started 20 years ago?
Yes.
How long do you think the deal length is extended in that 20-year period?
It has extended. I think the bankers are, extremely busy nowadays, and why they're busy because compliance. There are a lot of red tapes.
Yeah, of course they do. The banking code of conduct and all that. Yeah, and of course.
But I think to deliver, the right outcome for everybody. Firstly, still back to that deal packaging. how much information we provide upfront, and also have that clear communication with all stakeholders to make sure that the time frame looks like this. And we're going to stick to it. And that will generally achieve an outcome that everyone's happy with.
You'd have buying power with them. When I say buying power, obviously, if I'm coming in and I'm getting one loan for a potential auction where there's 50 other bidders for my first thing, it's very different to you with the amount of clients you've got and your experience. They want to have a good relationship with you because you've got such great clients, right? Because you've created so much wealth with them, hopefully generationally.
Yes.
Management rights is where you started in an accommodation? Yes. How are you finding management rights deals to get through, and is there anything to the people who are listening that you'd give advice from a finance point of view?
Definitely discuss finance with me as early as possible, so that we can understand, what your borrowing capacity looks like, and that, obviously dependent on, many different factors: how much deposit you have, how much equity you have, do you have enough to cover, stamp duty and associated costs, and generally I can do it, or even some of your your colleagues, I've been able to do it, straight away. So clients give me a call, the same day, and over the phone, I will be able to tell them what it looks like.
So you're just asking the right questions.
Asking the right questions.
I don't think buyers are liars. I think that they don't know often about, like you think if you've got a house for $1 million.
Yeah, you think you just need a 5, 10, 15% deposit.
Exactly. Or you think you can borrow against it, and if you owe 400, you've got 600 to put into something else. Not that the bank's going to go 80%. Lesser debt, that's your equity. What would be your piece of advice to buyers at the moment?
Well, I think at the moment, if you haven't really been doing the pre-work to actually find out your like buyers that call us to say, I'm wanting to get into the industry, but where do I start? They're going to buy something before someone that just randomly inquires on 83 different properties. Because they very quickly get put in a box of that's going to be, they don't know what they're doing. If I wake up and my dashboard's got 15 inquiries from that one person, I'd go, they just need to talk to her. At very different price points. You got 20 million and 500,000. It go, well, they're not going to find out what their capacity is by looking at all of our vendors' information. They're going to find it out by talking to a professional. And so I think from a buyer's point of view, if they are looking to get into the industry, don't just start inquiring on 100 different properties. You're not going to learn. You're going to learn by talking to people in the industry, getting your finance broker lined up, someone that you align with, that you can, talk the same language about what the journey that you're wanting to go on.
Be open with confidentially. We don't get told we've got a great relationship, but that's confidential.
Exactly. And that will just give them the confidence to actually, when they are inquiring, they're going to have a lot more time in their day because they're not going to get bothered by brokers who put them in the, go in the too hard basket, which we're all busy. It happens.
The market's so busy.
And they're actually going to find what they want to buy. People that are prepared, they can be looking at stuff and putting forward offers within a week and being successful. Rather than waiting 18 months and looking at 100 things and missing everything because they're not ready. I
totally agree, and I reckon in this market, Nath, it's spot on. I would say the same thing more than ever because of the activity. When there's lots of multiple offers, we very much are talking about who people are using on deals now. And actually vendors are saying to us more times than not, look, unless you know the person, unless you know that they've done management rights, development, freehold hotel stuff, we don't want to start the long and expensive DD process because there's also lots of other people in the market, which is a condition.
And that is very important point because and that's what that pre-approval, the pre-due diligence pre-approval is really important. So that and even for the buyers as well, like by the time they start the bank application, they would have invested a fair bit of costs, into the professional fees, your lawyers and so
and
forth.
Time.
For due
and
diligence
time. If they're moving in, this is going to be their first one. They've got a job. They might be on making $100,000 a year. If they're spending their weekends, pouring through all this information that might not be relevant, they've wasted thousands of dollars worth of their own time.
I agree with
before
and a market that's moving.
Exactly.
Things are only getting more expensive because there's not enough supply and everyone's trading so well.
So how does that pre-approval look from from your lens? Someone comes to you, contacts you. What sort of information should people be listening to this? Get ready into a Dropbox just to be sent over to you, within a day after listening. What sort of things can they have prepared? Obviously, everyone's situation is going to be different, but is there sort of a top 10 list that they can get ready to make to be ready to make their next purchase?
Generally, I've got a template with very common hit list for all purchases, and very for example, we have the statement of position on it, which I've got a template they can fill out.
So that's effectively like an asset and liability. So
Correct.
what they owe, what they owe on their credit card, what they make monthly.
Exactly.
Super balances.
Yep.
Yep.
And then we ask for, their financials, their tax returns. If you've got, they've got a PAYG job, they've got their own business.
Yes.
Just a bit of an understanding of that. And thirdly, just a bit of their background, their resume.
Right.
But like a high-level resume, just dot points, what have they done in the past, so that we know, or I know that, the banks can, will have appetite for,
And take you
for
seriously.
these type of clients as such.
You know what? I can't believe how thorough you are, Paul. I think it's amazing. I think it's fantastic that you go through that.
So it's probably only three or four things to like. There's going to be a lot more that comes out, but just to get their initial, your capacity is going to be $2 million based on what you've sent me.
You'd be able to do that probably in a phone call, or do you find that you have to see it? Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, well, look, generally it depends on a client. Like, if they're on a fly, then we could probably do it on the phone. I could just complete the form for them. But if they wanted to do it at their own spare time, most of my clients' feedback is that I can get it done within 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
okay, so it's not onerous. Yeah,
just
right.
attach.
It's a lot more onerous inquiring on 40 different things and having...
And seeing them.
Yeah.
Also falling in love with the property, not being able to afford it because you didn't know equity.
Exactly.
Meeting people in person, I know that you will often... We've sent many people and you've taken the time out of your day to go and meet them for a coffee.
Yep.
I know that's why we do calls.
Yes.
20 calls a week. It's our only... We're very old school because just meeting people in person, they'll tell you things that...
We're in people's business at the end of the day, and like once you sit in front of someone, their body language, how they react, and especially for first-time buyers, whether it's motels, caravan parks, management rights, they don't know what they don't know.
No.
And when you sit in front of them, well, for me, I can, I guess, take them through a journey, take them through a learning or an experience, so that's to
give them confidence and comfort.
give them confidence, and to let them know that I'm there with them every step of the way. It's not just I want to get finance done, but take them through the entire journey, to give them that that peace of mind that they are buying this for their family, for themselves, something they're proud of.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Paul, we're out of time, and I want you to come back because I want you to talk to us about how now you are managing to recently get a development deal for the first new hotel in Brisbane. Amazing in this climate. I don't think we've touched on it. No. But I really thank you for coming. Again, we're delighted. We'd recommend anybody work with you. We look forward to watching and working together to see your business grow and your family's business grow as ours. And thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And we will definitely have you back so we can talk about how you get new hotels out of the ground, which is amazing. We need lots more of them.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for joining us again. Paul Chu from CLAS Finance Solutions. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us at Resort Brokers Radio. Please subscribe and follow us and give us a 5-star review so we can be back again next time. Thanks a lot.